Why was the Lantern Festival the liveliest holiday in ancient times? Could it be that, in ancient times, unmarried young women were usually not allowed to go out freely, except on the day of the Lantern Festival, when they could stroll the streets? Thus, young bachelors seeking to settle down and find their match would also venture out. Hoping to encounter fate, a young man named Wang Zifu went out for a walk. Amid the bustling crowd, his gaze suddenly locked onto a young woman. She was of peerless beauty, her face adorned with a radiant smile, and she held a sprig of plum blossoms in her hand, accompanied by a young maid. However, no matter how beautiful she was, it was improper to stare so intently. Wasn't that far too rude? Sure enough, the young woman turned to her maid and said, "Look at that man, his eyes are burning like a thief's." With those words, she tossed the plum blossom to the ground and left, chatting and laughing with her maid. As for Wang Zifu, he picked up the plum blossom, his heart filled with a sense of loss. Eventually, he returned home dejected. Back home, he hid the plum blossom beneath his pillow, refusing to speak or eat, and fell straight into a deep sleep. Strangely enough, once longing takes root as an illness, it becomes uncontrollable. Within a few days, Wang Zifu was bedridden, consumed by thoughts of the young woman. One day, his cousin came to visit and pressed him, asking if something was troubling him. Upon hearing this, Wang Zifu's tears instantly fell, and he sobbed as he recounted the entire story. His cousin burst into laughter but promised to help find the young woman. However, when the cousin went to the street and inquired at the spot where they had met, he began by asking, "Excuse me, I'm looking for a young woman." A passerby politely replied, without knowing her appearance, "How can anyone help you find her?" But when Wang Zifu heard that his cousin had gone to search for her, he immediately brightened up, and his appetite improved considerably. The cousin found himself in a dilemma. He decided to tell a little lie first, to help Wang Zifu recover his health. So, the cousin returned and told Wang Zifu, "I found her, guess who she is? She's actually our aunt's daughter, your cousin." While marriage between close relatives is somewhat taboo, frankly it should be fine. Wang Zifu was overjoyed, and eagerly asked where she lived. The cousin fabricated, "In the southwestern hills, about 30 li from here." Afraid that Wang Zifu might go searching on his own, he volunteered, "I'll go propose the marriage on your behalf." From that day on, Wang Zifu's appetite gradually returned, and his complexion improved. He often took out the plum blossom from beneath his pillow though dried. It had not withered away. He also frequently urged his cousin to visit and update him on the situation. Of course, the cousin made all sorts of excuses, delaying day by day. Finally, Wang Zifu could wait no longer. Feeling that he had recovered and considering 30 li not too far, he hid the plum blossom in his sleeve and secretly set out alone. He walked southwest for about 30 li until a range of wild, verdant mountains appeared before him, sparsely populated, with paths only passable by birds. Making his way through a narrow path, he saw a small village nestled among flowers and trees. Exhausted, he sat down to rest at the doorstep of a house. Wang Zifu turned to see a young woman holding an apricot blossom, about to place it in her hair. She looked up, noticed Wang Zifu sitting at the door, stopped fixing the flower, smiled, and turned to go inside. Wang Zifu was speechless with shock. This was the very girl he had met during the Lantern Festival. He thought of using visiting his aunt as an excuse, but he had never met her before. Charging in recklessly might lead to mistakes. As he hesitated, restless and uneasy, as the sun began to set, an old lady came out and asked, "Young man, where are you from? I heard you've been sitting here since morning. Are you hungry? Looking for food?" Wang Zifu quickly stood up and bowed, respectfully saying he was visiting a relative. The old lady was hard of hearing and couldn't make out his words. After asking several times, "What did you say?" the old lady, seeing he couldn't answer, smiled and said, "How strange. How can you visit relatives without knowing their name? You seem like a bookworm, but you must be hungry after sitting here all day. Why not come in for a simple meal?" This hit the mark for Wang Zifu. Happily, he followed the old lady into the courtyard. During the meal, the old lady studied Wang Zifu's face, finding it increasingly familiar. She asked, "Is your mother's surname Wu?" Wang Zifu replied, "Yes." The old lady exclaimed, "You are my nephew. Your mother is my sister." Wang Zifu wasn't surprised, as he had come precisely to find his aunt and cousin. The old lady spoke of family matters. "I have no children of my own. This daughter is not my biological child. She is very clever, but lacked discipline growing up. She's always laughing, and doesn't know a worry in the world." She then asked the maid to call the young woman out. Soon, faint laughter could be heard from outside the door. When the young woman reached the doorway, she was still giggling uncontrollably. The old lady scolded, "Yingning, your cousin is here. How can you keep laughing like this?" So, this laughter-loving girl was named Yingning. She finally managed to restrain herself. Meanwhile, Wang Zifu found himself staring at her intently again. The maid whispered to Yingning, "Look, his eyes are burning. That thievish look hasn't changed a bit." Yingning nearly burst out laughing again. She stood up, covering her mouth with her sleeve, and hurried out of the room with quick, small steps. Once outside, she laughed heartily. The old lady said nothing more and insisted that Wang Zifu stay for a few days before returning home. The next day, Wang Zifu was walking in the courtyard, passing through a flower bed. He suddenly heard laughter from a tree. Looking up, he saw Yingning sitting in the tree, covering her mouth as she laughed while climbing down. Just before reaching the ground, her hand slipped, and she fell solidly, which finally stopped her laughter. Wang Zifu rushed over to help her up. Wang Zifu took the plum blossom from his sleeve and presented it to her. Yingning was puzzled. "This flower has withered. Why keep it?" Wang Zifu immediately declared his steadfast love. Wang Zifu also laughed and said directly, "It's not the flowers I love, but the person who held them. Not the love between relatives, but the love between husband and wife." Then the maid silently appeared before them. Too embarrassed to say more, Wang Zifu shyly retreated into the house. Soon after, both Yingling and Wang Zifu went to the old lady's room. The old lady asked, "The meal has been ready for a long time. What were you two talking about for so long?" Yingling answered honestly, "Cousin wanted to sleep with me." Wang Zifu was utterly mortified and quickly tried to signal Yingling with his eyes. The old lady stared wide-eyed at Wang Zifu, then turned and shouted at Yingling, "What did you say?" Wang Zifu breathed a sigh of relief and quickly changed the subject. Meanwhile, back at Wang Zifu's home, chaos had erupted. His mother searched everywhere for him, but found no trace. Finally, the cousin remembered his lie and sent people to search the southwestern hills. After an arduous journey, the Wang family servants finally found the place. Before they left, the old lady advised Yingling, "I really don't know what's so amusing that you laugh non-stop. If you could rid yourself of this habit, you'd be perfect. Don't rush back from your relative's house. Take time to learn poetry, books, and etiquette, and have them help you find a good husband." With that, Wang Zifu, Yingling, and their party set off for home. Upon arrival, Wang Zifu took Yingling to see his mother, introducing her as their aunt's daughter. Wang's mother was baffled. "I don't even have a sister. How could I have a niece?" Puzzled, she turned to ask Yingling about her background. Yingling said, "I'm not the biological daughter of my current mother. My father's surname was Qin. He died when I was still an infant in swaddling clothes." Wang Zifu's cousin came in and asked, "Is this young woman named Yingling?" He then explained, "After Aunt Qin passed away, my uncle became infatuated with a fox spirit. They had a daughter named Yingling." This only deepened the mystery for everyone. Meanwhile, Yingling simply stood by, giggling foolishly. Wang's mother couldn't help but say, "This girl is too simple-minded." She then asked Yingling to pay her respects to everyone. Yingling tried hard to suppress her laughter, facing the wall to calm herself for a moment. From then on, Wang's mother took special care of Yingling. On one hand, when they sent people back to the village in the southwestern hills to investigate, they found that Yingling's home had vanished without a trace. Wang's mother felt sorry for this homeless girl. On the other hand, Yingling paid her respects to Wang's mother every day and was exquisitely skilled at needlework. The only issue was her incessant laughter. Yet, even though her laughter was unrestrained, It did not diminish her charm, so everyone liked her. Despite their fondness, Wang's mother worried that Yingning might be a ghost or monster. She often secretly observed Yingning in the sunlight. After a long time, finding nothing unusual, she finally decided to let Wang Zifu and Yingning marry. On the wedding day, Yingning was dressed in splendid attire, but when it came time for the ceremony, she laughed so hard she couldn't straighten her back, making the rites impossible. They had no choice but to forego the ceremony and send the couple directly to the bridal chamber. After marriage, Wang Zifu feared that Yingning's simple-mindedness and lack of filter might lead her to reveal their private marital affairs. Surprisingly, Yingning kept these matters strictly confidential. Whenever Wang's mother was angry or worried, just a few laughs from Yingning would immediately cheer her up. Additionally, Yingning had an obsession with flowers. She asked for fine flowers from all her relatives' homes. Sometimes, she even secretly pawned her jewelry to buy rare flower seeds. Within just a few months, the entire household, from the courtyard and steps to the area beside the toilet, was filled with planted flowers. One day, Yingling was playing on a flower trellis when the son of a neighboring family happened to be strolling in his yard. Seeing Yingling, he was instantly captivated, staring at her with longing eyes. Yingling didn't avoid him. Instead, she pointed smilingly toward the base of the wall, then climbed down from the trellis, laughing as she returned indoors. The young man thought this was a hint to meet her at the wall corner that night. A lewd expression immediately appeared on his face, and he eagerly anticipated the evening. That night, he went to the corner of the wall. Peering closely, he indeed saw a figure waiting there, or so he thought. He immediately pounced. The moment he made contact, a sharp pain shot through his body to his brain. Looking more carefully, there was no Yingling, only a rotten piece of wood. His finger had jammed directly into a hole in the wood. In agony and shock, the young man couldn't help but scream. His family rushed over and found a poisonous scorpion, as large as a crab, inside the hole in the wood. Sure enough, the young man died that very night. Faced with such an incident, the family was unwilling to let it go. After some investigation, they accused Yingling and brought a lawsuit against her. Fortunately, the county magistrate admired Wang Zifu's literary talent and did not give Yingling a hard time. The matter was resolved. Afterwards, Wang's mother said to Yingling, "Seeing your foolish, wild laughter, I knew extreme joy would lead to sorrow." She added, "Thankfully the magistrate was discerning. Had we encountered an incompetent official, what face would our family have left in society?" Upon hearing this, Yingling, for the first time, showed a serious expression and vowed never to laugh again. Wang's mother wasn't a harsh mother-in-law to begin with. Seeing Yingling make such a vow, she quickly explained, "Everyone laughs, it's just a matter of knowing the right time and place." This was true, but from then on, Yingling truly never laughed again, though she didn't appear sad either. Until one day, she suddenly burst into loud sobs before Wang Zifu. Choking back tears, she said, "I have a secret. I didn't speak of it before, because I was afraid it would scare you. But you and mother have been so kind to me, so it's okay to tell you now. I am indeed the daughter of a fox. Before my mother left, she entrusted me to my ghost mother, the old lady you met. We depended on each other for over 10 years. But now she lies alone in the mountains, lonely with no one to keep her company. No one is willing to move her grave or be buried with her. I only beg you to help me with this, to let her rest in peace," she continued slowly. "If the spirits underground see that a daughter can also properly arrange funeral affairs, perhaps those who give birth to daughters won't be so quick to drown or abandon their baby girls." Wang Zifu was deeply moved. He agreed to this request not only for his beloved Yingling, but also for the sake of righteousness in this world. He selected an auspicious day and, together with Yingling, moved the old lady's remains to the Qin family ancestral grave. That night, the couple both dreamed of the old lady coming to thank them. From then on, every year on Qingming Festival, they would go to sweep the Qin family ancestral grave, never missing a single year. A year later, Yingning gave birth to a son. From birth, this child was unafraid of strangers, smiling at everyone he met, much like his mother.